would keep me waiting, I would wait a lifetime. In tricky situations, I will be a lifeline. Nobody's meant to be fighting alone. That's why I'm taking you home. I never felt something like this before, no. Keep coming back for you time after time. Maybe I'm losing my mind, but I know I'll never leave you behind, no. Baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the route, yeah, baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the route, yeah, baby, I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. Baby, I got you. I got you. I got you. Ocean in between us, still I feel your heartbeat. There's something about you, baby, that makes me feel complete. Nobody's meant to be fighting alone. That's why I'm taking you home. I never felt something like this before, no. Keep coming back for your time after time. Maybe I'm losing my mind, but I know I'll never leave you behind, no. Baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the route, yeah, baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the route, yeah, baby, I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. Baby, I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. The world is going wild when they come for you, and the river's running dry when it all falls through. Don't you worry about a thing, baby, I got you. Yeah, baby, I got you.
Hello, my royal diamonds. Thank you so much for tuning into the Duchess of Success podcast. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and comment on the video to help the algorithm find us. It is my pleasure to bring you all of the royal tea, honey. And if you would like to donate to the channel, please check out the links in the description box. All of your donations help to keep the channel running. Thank you for your support, and remember, you don't need a crown to be royal. We are all queens. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday podcast, and thank you for being so patient with me because I did not do a podcast for a couple of days. All of my screenshots and receipts added up, so I had like 100 plus to sort through and try to put together. And then, obviously, in the last 24 hours, so much has happened, and I've been asleep for about 8 of those hours in a completely different time zone. So thank you for being patient with me, and I've tried to get as much together as I can. There's still stuff streaming through, and I'm even looking at my Twitter feed right now and the stuff that I haven't put on my slides that I'm going to read out. For example, let me actually just get straight to this before I even get into anything else. Lee Thompson, who is William's communications officer, the one who was trying to breathe down Meghan's neck during that infamous walkabout during the Queen's funeral, he has been running around briefing. So this is actually from the New York Times. The Prince of Wales, that's William, is currently taking time to support his wife, the Princess of Wales, as she recovers from abdominal surgery at home in Windsor. Lee Thompson, William and Catherine's communications secretary, said in an email on Tuesday, although the prince has been working privately, he will commence public duties tomorrow. Mr. Lee added that as Charles receives treatment, Prince William may undertake some duties on behalf of the king in addition to his own diary of engagement. So Lee Thompson is still there. I did wonder what happened to Lee Thompson. It seems that both Lee Thompson and Christiane Jones are still in the picture, running around briefing and causing absolute mayhem and chaos. So I would like for somebody to help me out here. There are reports. Actually, I'm not going to say reports. People are tweeting. Let me phrase that correctly. People are tweeting that Harry came, he went in like 45 minutes. Now, I haven't actually seen any evidence that Harry is gone. Now, if there's evidence that he came, here are the pictures. So if somebody can help me out, because I'm running around trying to figure out what's going on as much as you are. So here's Harry, like the top two pictures. That's Harry in his motorcade. Interesting to note that they're all wearing black. This is something that we're going to come back to. You had Sky News doing a whole live feed because apparently there's nothing else going on in the United Kingdom other than a prince who left coming back to meet his dad. That we have to have a whole live stream and consistent coverage on Sky News. They were actually following his motorcade, and you can see in the top one, photographers waiting there for the irrelevant Harry bringing forth the Philosopher's Stone back to the United Kingdom to give to his father, for he has the elixir of youth in his hands. So I never want to hear again from the British tabloids that Harry is not relevant, because we've had constant news coverage of Harry in his car going to visit his dad. But I still can't actually figure out whether or not Harry is still there or he's gone back. Because other than these shots, we don't actually know where Harry is, where he's staying. Gonna presume he's probably with a friend. I don't believe that he's at a royal household, because obviously Frogmore was taken away. There was a whole controversy with Frogmore, and there's still the whole situation with Harry's security. So my assumption would be that it is actually quite risky for him to be at a royal household, knowing how these people are. Knowing that he's not going to be protected, knowing that they could possibly be listening to him, who knows? So I'm still trying to figure out where. Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter where Harry is, as long as he's safe. But I just don't know whether or not he's still in the United Kingdom. Right, let me go to your comments. See if any of you have any answers for me. Vera, I am so sorry for your cat, and I hope she does heal. We actually just adopted a cat in my household back in the UK. Very good companions. Hey, Facts and 2 Cents. Facts and 2 Cents, do you want to come up? Now that you're here, we're actually having a conversation, me, Baron, Facts and 2 Cents, in a chat about possibly, being on each other's channels a lot more often. Because I like to have other people's voices, not just my own. And I know that you all really like, light side coming up. Visit. Okay, so this link is for Facts and 2 Cents only. Sorry. If you do want to come up, Petal, I will let you up. I'd love to have you up. I am so glad that CC that Megan isn't around as well. There's no need for her to be. She needs to protect her peace. Why put herself through this again? Where's that picture that I had? Where is it? Oh, do I not have the picture? Anyway, why put herself through stress? For what? For who and for what? This is what we want to see from Megan. This and this. She deserves peace after all of this nonsense. Oops, okay. Sorry, I need to get rid of some pictures because 2 of my slides haven't uploaded. Give me 1 sec, folks. All right. Let's get on to actually some good news before we get into the drama. Clever Blends. Clever Blends, which is the latte company that Megan invested in, they are now going to be stocked in 500 stores in Target for you in the US. Now they have started doing to some limited capacity international shipping. I think they now ship to the UK, to Canada, and maybe a couple of other places to double check. Maybe those of you that order, maybe you can tell us in the chat. And it looks like they're just, pressing ahead, moving forward, um, expanding, which is absolutely fantastic. And they've not just expanding where they're available, they've also expanded their range. So I think they're adding teas now as well. Um, and it would be the sweetest thing if Clever Blends was available, in like Waitrose or Tesco's, in the UK, like two or at least one of the biggest retailers in the United Kingdom. I would gaggle and cackle like a witch if that was the case. So congratulations to Target. What a magnificent investment for Megan, for these for the founders of Clever Blends as well, and a great brand. Also, Netflix. Netflix is doing a show called Scoop, and it is a film about the notorious 2019 Newsnight interview with Randy Andy. So this is Gillian Anderson as Emily, is it Mateless, and Rufus Sewell as Randy Andy. When I first saw this, I had to do a double take. And now I have to ask, I don't know if, does anybody actually have the answer to this question? I need to Google it. Why the actors in The Crown never look like the actual members of the royal family? Because I had to do a double take when I saw this. Like, wow, they've done it. I mean, hair and makeup have done a really good job. Gillian Anderson is an incredible actress, so I'm sure the acting is incredible too, and the set design and the costume also looks amazing. Looking forward to that. Oh, Pedal's here. Okay, I'm gonna let Pedal up in a moment, but just okay, let me cover this story and then because I'd love to get Pedal's opinion on this. Thank you so much, Pedal, for coming up. And then I will let Pedal on. Situation with Catherine. So there was a Spanish tabloid, a journalist called Concha Calleja, who claimed that she had an inside knowledge that Kate had that she was in a coma, or she was in a comatose phase. That something the way it was phrased, and it could also be the translation because the translation was a bit off, that either that she had surgery and then something went wrong, or something went wrong and that something is what put her in a comatose phase. Um, Now the palace started briefing that they were furious about these claims, these alleged claims of Kate being in a coma, but they never denied it. And Concha is now doubling down. She went on television and she doubled down. So our good sis here is clearly not worried about being sued. And you have to then wonder, is there some truth to this? The fact that she would double down. Now, how she specifically managed to get this scoop, I don't know. And it has been picked up by a couple of other international publications, but the British tabloids aren't touching this. But Kate has not been seen. And what's interesting is nobody in the British tabloids seems to be asking why, where she is. There just seems to be this silence around what's going on with her. The announcement of the surgery and the timing was also very weird, somehow coinciding, with Charles's announcement about his initially, prostate surgery, and now revelations about cancer. And even more strange, the Middleton family, who themselves are, going through it because of their debt, hasn't been seen. We've heard and seen almost nothing. So it you know it does raise some questions. Um, and then also that Harry decides to rush back to the UK. Now, obviously, revelation that your parent has cancer would be shocking for anyone. And despite everything that's happened, Harry has still maintained that he has a certain level of compassion for his family. Um, and so, sorry, but regardless, it doesn't seem that Charles's condition is so bad at the moment that he is literally dying. So for Harry to rush back so quickly after this announcement, that has also raised question. Like, what is the like? Yes, it's shocking, and maybe he does want to be close to his father, but why the rush? Why so soon after the announcement? That has raised some eyebrows. Um, and all the members of the royal family, Charles, Camilla, also Beatrice, who was also seen, and her partner at Clarence House, all wearing black. There's also a live feed now at Buckingham Palace. It does it just feels like what I'm trying to get at is it just feels like something else is going on. Something, is amiss here. You've even got in the tabloids, Harry being asked, called to return to duty. I don't know what duties that they would be, smiling and waving, giving a smile and wave here and there, as we know that William likes to do. Because when you're talking about royal duties, what are you actually talking about? Just showing up to places. And then there was this. I just want to get through this before I ask Petal to come up. The Professor Dr. Monkia Doberstein, she posted this on Twitter. I actually wanted to take at least some time out on X on the topics of the royal family, Kensington Palace, and Harry and Meghan. But I also noticed Harry's black suit today and find everything else so strange. So here are a few more considerations. Everything can be completely different. So this is just her theory. I'm not stating this as fact. I'm not saying I believe this. I'm not saying that this is what is happening. But at this point, I feel like because the palace, and you know that this isn't a channel where I like to delve too much into conspiracy, but since the palace want to be so shadowy, um, I think we can delve a little bit maybe into conspiracy today. So this is Monica's what she thinks might be going on, or some theories from her. So she said, somehow all of this is very confusing. The king announces that he has cancer, but he doesn't specify the type, stage, or life expectancy. The prime minister says it was detected in the early stages, and they've gone out of their way to let us know that it's in the early stages. It's even on the front cover of the Daily Mail. Obviously, the king is not currently in a critical condition. Nevertheless, Harry rushes to London. What could have caused this urgent need for action? Let's consider some possibilities. A. Charles actually has a serious cancer diagnosis with a short life expectancy, let's say about 1 year. Then he would need to start chemotherapy promptly, which would worsen his health. If he wants to settle anything, it's not a bad idea to do this as quickly as possible. Perhaps the rumors about William's tendency towards DV and alcohol dependency are true. Maybe he did actually hospitalize Kate on the 28th of December. Perhaps Kate is seriously ill as well. Maybe as reported from Spain, she wasn't just put into a coma, but is still in a coma. Perhaps it's clear that she won't wake up from it, and the machines will need to be switched off soon. Even then, there is an urgent need for action. In this scenario, it's possible that Charles isn't actually sick, but the cancer announcement is just a distraction, allowing Harry to come to London without raising questions. Option C, it might also be a combination of scenarios of A and B. Charles is indeed ill and needs to arrange his succession. Kate isn't as severely ill as in scenario B, but there might still have been evidence of DV during Christmas, making it impossible to make William king. One of the things the other scenario that actually isn't mentioned here is a situation where Kate may have tried to harm herself, or she just had a breakdown, physical or mental, or both, possibly linked to a possible divorce or anything else that's been going on behind the scenes. And then it goes on to say, in scenarios B and C, another heir to the throne or a regent would need to be sought. Harry would probably wouldn't be interested in ascending the throne. This would be extremely dangerous, especially for his son. A mixed race child as heir to the throne would likely not be tolerable for the establishment or right wing terrorists. Therefore, Harry could be in London to sign a renunciation declaration. This can possibly only be done in the UK, requiring his presence. There may I mean, I wouldn't go as far as saying that, a declaration, but maybe something that would require Harry's physical presence, and that can only be done in the UK under the UK laws. The UK as a constitutional monarchy would require his presence. That does make some sense. I just don't know if it would be that. And it would explain the short meeting of only 45 minutes after his father left for Sarrington, with apparently no further meetings planned in the short term. So it wasn't about reconciliation talks. This could also explain why Beatrice was seen outside Clarence's house today. After Harry and his children, Andrew would be next in line. But he also can't be made the heir to the throne regent. Next in line would be Beatrice. So those are some theories that people are throwing around. And just a reminder of the line of succession. And Petal, I will let you up now. Thank you so much for coming.
Hello, Anne. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. Let me just first of all say thank you so much for Petal for being so supportive and putting the word out about what happened to my channel. I really appreciate that.
Oh, no problem, man. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that you get that all settled, quickly.
Yeah.
It's just so disturbing that happened. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
but I guess it's also just a warning to, other channels just to be careful.
yeah. I mean, I have been like a little bit anal about what I do on this channel because, I mean, there have been little things like links that they would, send me these threatening emails about, and I'm like, okay, I'm not putting any links anymore. It's just crazy.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, I haven't heard about that one. That's interesting.
Yes, there are I think a couple of links that it was stories about Invictus Games, and
Okay.
apparently the site, the which I thought was a regular news site, apparently had like a lot of ads and stuff on it that apparently went against
Oh,
YouTube rules. And yeah, I got
wow.
like some threatening things that they're going to, take down the entire podcast because of it. And I was like, oh my gosh, what?
Wow. That's
Yeah. So I
interesting.
got a few
Yeah.
of those and I was like, okay, no more links. I'm not even playing with it. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
was like,
you really gotta read the the monetization terms and conditions. To be completely and utterly fair, I have never actually read the full terms and conditions because they're just so
too
freaking long.
long.
I
Yes,
just
it's
try
really
to
long.
do yeah, I just try to follow common sense, but
Mhm.
like you said, like what you've just said right now, I never knew about that. So that's something that I'm gonna be careful about.
Yeah, I didn't know until I got the emails. And then they threatened, it's not even like demonetizing it. It's just like they're gonna let's take down the podcast that I put up. And it was just like, oh goodness. Well,
Yeah,
thanks for letting me. I'm not gonna do that again. So there you go.
yeah. So what are your I mean, just go for it. Thoughts, opinions, theories,
Well,
feelings.
it's so funny because I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist,
Yeah,
but it's like you can't help it. You
yeah,
know what I mean? You can't have, it's so funny because even before I came on, like for the entire afternoon, I was thinking about it. I'm like, I don't want to not, part of me feel like I don't want to feel like I don't trust, with King Charles having cancer. I don't want to feel like
yeah.
it, but part of me feel like, is this some kind of a con game they're pulling, some kind of a distraction thing? It's like you can't help it.
I mean, do you know what? I
And I
feel
kind
like
of feel like,
when you have an institution that is so dishonest and deceptive, I think
yeah,
it invites these type of situations. It's a reflection of them, not of us, that we're now looking at everything and going, okay, something weird is going on.
it is
And
very weird.
when it comes to the royals, honestly, your craziest conspiracy theory is probably true.
I know, right? it is just, it's really, really wild. And again, you when the whole thing happened, when we first heard about Kate in the hospital, and then the same day Charles, and then they end up going to the same hospital. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait a minute, this is really weird. It's just really, really odd. I'm like, and then you think back, to Omid Scobie's book, and you remember all the drama that happened, and then you realize, wait a minute, those are the two racist
Yeah.
royals.
Yeah. That's another thing, right?
Wait a minute, are they just looking for a reset? You know what I mean? So they start the
Yeah.
year, they have a lot of sympathy, and even like I think it was a Telegraph a couple of days ago had like this article about Kate and Charles, how they're being in the hospital or whatever,
There you go.
that
There
their
it is.
popularity went up from that. And I'm like, wait a minute, is this what it's about? Is it like hospital PR they're doing? And I feel bad for thinking, because I don't want to think like, okay, they could really be sick and she could really be having this issue, but I can't help it. Because you see this stuff and you're like, wait a minute. This isn't it's and then they're not giving the full what's going on. Even with Charles, you notice he didn't give, we don't know, as you said, I think you just mentioned it. We don't really know what type of cancer he has. They said cancer, but they specifically didn't say, and as you said, they didn't say how far along. So then they invite all of this guesswork. They invite people to sort of speculate away. And then part of me feel like, wait a minute, when you do stuff like that, where you just sort of invite speculation, it just sort of mean like you just want people to keep talking about you. You know what I mean? You want attention, even if it's negative attention, is attention. And so it just like, and I feel bad for thinking that way, but I'm like, but I can't help it. It's there.
Yeah, and I also, actually, because I responded to someone who said that I was being a bit cuckoo, and I think I have it. I think I actually put it on the slide. One sec, if I can find it now. Actually,
Cuckoo
no,
for
I can't
thinking
find
that
it.
way.
Yeah, so somebody on Twitter said that I was a little bit kooky for thinking that way, and then I responded by saying, "Well, this is the institution that didn't care if Meghan unalived herself, and they knew what she was going
Yeah.
through. They let their press hounds double down when she was pregnant. They're harboring an alleged offender. Like what part of us theorizing these things is too extreme when it comes to the British monarchy?"
Exactly. And then that is the thing, because they're not clear on anything, they just sort of like piecemeal things out and then leave like a whole bunch of things for your imagination or for their press to sort of make up all of this nonsense about. Then, you can't help but, because again, they're not being honest. There's a lot of lies in all of this stuff. They're not being honest about what is actually going on. And then you're in a place where you don't want to think that someone, they said, okay, I'm going to the hospital because I have an enlarged prostate, whatever, or I'm in the hospital because I'm having an abdominal surgery. But within those things, there are lies. When people are not being honest with you, and so
because
you feel bad, but
omitting truths is also lying.
exactly, and that is what they're doing. And so then you can't, and I'm like, I feel bad again. I don't want to be like, okay, she's not sick or he's not sick, but these people they just lie for no reason. And they omit things for no reason, and then so it just invites all this thing, and then you have their tabloids filling in with a whole bunch of stuff that are lies.
Yeah, because if it really wasn't that urgent, I mean, like Syed and Rahini are making this very good point. Actually, Rahini, if you want to come up, I will post a link for Rahini. I'd love for you to come up. If it really wasn't that urgent, it would just be a Zoom call or a video call. So like, what has prompted, and knowing that Harry is still not safe, and there's still the whole issue with security going on. And that is something that the royal household could amend straight away if they wanted to, but they choose not to. And then all the issues with the press. What would prompt Harry to get on a plane so damn quickly?
Well, I don't know if you saw this interview with Chris Ship, Taliban Chris Ship. He was, I think, was on ITV, and he said, and if I understood the interview correctly, that King Charles told Harry about this a few days ago. They just announced it yesterday, but he told his family a few days ago. So it wasn't like Harry just heard it and then jumped on a plane
Yeah.
overnight. This was
Yeah.
told a few days ago. And so that's what Chris Ship said. That's the only place I heard that, but
Right.
that's what he said. So I am assuming with Harry jumping in a plane that one, it's more serious than they're letting on,
Mm.
or as you said, maybe they have some things that I've thought about that as well. Some things with either Charles getting his house in order or whatever. And then we do have this thing where apparently they said that Harry and him only spent 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Who knows? They it
Mm.
depend on what paper you use or what your news outlet is. They give you different times. And so who knows? Again, they're not being honest with things, so who knows?
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you a question, and then Rahini, I want to hear your thoughts on this as well. What role do you think Camilla is playing in all of this now? What do you think her game is?
I think Camilla has gotten what Camilla always wanted. If you see the headlines with she's the rock, she is running things, Camilla is doing, it's like she is the happiest I've ever seen her since she became queen.
Mm.
If you've seen photos or videos of her, I mean, she is just beaming. And
Yes.
so I think Camilla has the control she's always wanted. Some people claim that, oh, she doesn't really care to be queen and all of that stuff. I don't believe that at all. You don't do what Camilla did to not be where she is. This is
Yeah.
exactly what she wanted. And, now the king is basically incapacitated. Camilla she's got what she wants. She is where Queen Betty was, and she's in
Mm.
control of things. And the press, at least, I don't know that the people of the UK, but at least the press, she's a darling now. And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Rahini, I'm gonna ask you the exact same question, and then you can carry on with any other thoughts you have about the situation. And Petal, you just stay there, and then you can jump in at any time. Hi, Rahini. How are
Hi.
you?
Hi, I'm
Long
good.
time.
I think I agree a lot with Petal that Camilla is finally getting the the unfluffed good press because what is she doing? She is being by his side. She is being a dutiful wife. We could be mad at her, but she's doing what a wife's supposed to do, standing by his side. So that press is kind of pure. You know what I mean? It's not the fluff trying to
Mm.
make fetch happen. It is the real deal for her. So this is probably the best press she has gotten in over 20 something years. So she is
Mm.
in her glee, right? And because we know she is knee deep with the British media, especially tabloids, she's in a good place. She's actually quite happy, and I think if she wants to let them know what type of cancer he has, she could. But that mystery adds to it. That
Yes,
mystery
but
adds
and
to it.
sorry, I'm gonna stop you just a second before you carry on because that just prompted me to remember something that Piers Morgan decided to tweet. Now, where was this? Oh, please do not tell me that I forgot to put this on the. No, I forgot to put it on a slide. I hate myself. Okay, I'm gonna read out something that Piers Morgan tweeted, and the response from someone who absolutely just massacred this man. So this was Piers Morgan's tweet. He said, "Increasingly untenable for Buckingham Palace not to say what cancer King Charles III has got. Speculation is running riot all over the world. If, as I'm sure he does, Charles wants to help others, better to be specific about his condition. And then a commentator responded to Piers Morgan saying, "Try hacking his phone and you might find out for yourself." Hardy ha ha ha. But the question I have, the question I, you know, that person got blocked. The question I
Listen,
have, exactly, the question I have now is, why is Piers Morgan, who's a friend to Camilla, you know, they go out and have lunch with each other with Jeremy Clarkson, why is he pushing for the palace to say what cancer Charles has? Because surely, if they wanted to say, they would have said already. Piers Morgan, the same person who decided to out Charles and Kate as the so-called royal heiress in the Dutch translation when nobody was actually asking him to. Raheem, your thoughts?
well, I mean, yeah, I cracked up. Tom chose violence. He could have just hacked the phone, you know. I mean, it was so funny. But yeah, I think at this point, you know, Camilla kind of have she hold all the trump cards in her hand, and she's kind of controlling everything. And I think she
Mm,
likes being in that place because you're seeing right now the press is doing the same thing that they do to Meghan and Harry. Um they're kind of beating them and trying to beg them, you know, why don't you tell us? Would you please tell us? You know, the way they were going on, Megan should have a social media and, you know, say trying the whole what they call it reverse psychology over and over again with them to try to get them to try to massage it out. And I think the palace Clarence House, they very well know that they have them right now because there's that interest because right now they can't go it's kind of as if, you know, when the fact that Megan is not here, they can't craft a narrative because they don't know, so they kind of running around like chickens with their head cut off. It's the same thing that's going on with the royal family, and they know they have them. They know that they could decide whether or not they could sway the narrative any which way they want. And I think for the first time in a long while, the royal family once again have a firm hold on the narrative. But the
mm,
problem with that is that when it comes to social media and the public, the rumors and the speculations is going to run rampant. Because
mm,
if there is quiet, there's going to be a vacuum, and that vacuum must be filled. And we have enough little pieces in and between to create an entire story to fill it ourselves. The press might be cautious in doing that when it comes to the royal family. We know they don't hesitate to do it when it comes to Meghan and Harry. But when it comes to the
mm,
royal family, they usually move a little slower and they're probably frustrated. And I think that was Pierce being frustrated because he thinks he's in,
mhm.
right? So he should get the
Yeah.
scoop, but they are treating him like a naughty little schoolboy. No, no, not for you, little piss piss. You can't get
Mhm.
it. Right? So he's upset. He's upset. But
Yeah.
I need to ask the squad, which one of y'all have been playing with voodoo dolls? Because which one of y'all which one of y'all have lit the black and the red candle to the ancestors,
Oh
because
god.
this year 2024 they have showed up and they are showing off. Oh
Oh
my
yeah.
goodness. Megan's
And it's only
ancestors.
February.
I know it's only February. Which one of y'all? I feel a church Nelly. I feel a church Nelly or Black Queen. One of y'all lighting candles. Stop, please, because it's kind of scary. Because to be fair, you know, when you think of all the possible cancers that he could have, they are quite scary from colon to
Yeah.
intestinal. It could be pretty scary, right? And then when you
Mm,
consider they're so secretive when it comes to kids, what she could have could be even worse, right?
mm,
So she could have could be even worse. So it is a very scary situation, and that is why, for me, I think that their health situation is probably worse than they're telling us, because that to me would be
Yeah.
the only thing that would prompt Harry to hop on a plane and come. Now, they could have lied about it being more serious to him,
Yeah.
right? To him, and saying, "No, it's more serious." So he's like, "I'm coming," and but I think from my research, he's the only one that would qualify to be regent if both
Hmm.
Charles and William they are um they are incapacitated, and he'll be regent until George is 21, because that's when George could be crowned king. So that's a long time,
Right. Yeah.
which is when
Yeah.
which is when but and you I don't want to get into trouble, but you remember a few, might be last year or year before, I told you about the rumors in Jamaica. I told you it was there, no? The DV situation. I told you.
Mm.
I, told- I just heard
Well, I
stuff.
mean,
I wasn't there.
those rumors, the rumors have been swirling. I mean, for some time. So
Yeah.
certainly, when you've got a couple on tour with all the stress of the tours, it wouldn't
Mhm.
be too far fetched. And also, oh gosh, there was actually something else that I wanted to ask you, Rahini. Actually, I'll let you carry on, and if I remember, then I'll ask you. Was there anything else that you wanted to?
Oh, no, I wanted to know if you sort out the thing with you two.
No, that's going to be an ongoing thing, likely until April.
Oh
Yeah,
God, that's so
yeah. But
ridiculous.
it's like I was saying with Petal. Like I've actually never sat down and read like the full terms and conditions of monetization. So if I had known, I certainly wouldn't have panicked and started deleting videos, which is actually something that you shouldn't do if you ever get demonetized, and how I now found myself in this situation. But it's fine. I appreciate every single one of you for your continued support, what you have supported me with, and your generosity. Can't thank you enough. And for now, at least, I'm okay. So thank you.
No problem. Um,
Yeah.
something else I want to say now. Oh gosh. But here's the thing: if I could be allowed to put on my tinfoil hat once again,
Cool.
could this be an entirely fabricated ruse to try to slow down the
Yeah.
Sussexes?
I
Because
mean,
they
do you
have
know
a
what?
lot this year.
I mean, the fact that you've got articles in the Telegraph, in this is not even meant to be a tabloid, but the Telegraph saying hospital boosts, stay boost popularity of king and princess. Well, if you need to be sick, ill, and dying to boost your popularity, I mean, I think that says a lot about you and the institution. There's nothing else you can do to boost your popularity other than be sick and ill.
Exactly, because just a few days before we were being we were seesawing between Kate is recovering and she's at she's on her way home to glory. I mean, just a few days ago,
Yeah,
and now Charles is now the center of attention. So you have to wonder, why are they playing these games? I mean, is it a game? And then of course, you see Harry jump and run, and there's all this talk about he should do this, he should do that. It's very interesting that they're not
yes,
mentioning Megan
yes,
and all of this. Harry should come back, so Harry should abandon his wife and children
yeah,
and come back and work for you all, because that makes sense, right?
yeah,
It's ridiculous. So you're seeing that now, so you're wondering, is this an elaborate ruse that they are, or at the very least, they overreacting on something to
yeah,
to get the popularity up, to slow down the Sussexes, because the Queen's funeral derailed the podcast by what, about 3 weeks, about 2 months. It was a long
yes,
while. It slowed. It was for 2 months, 2 or 3 months. It
yeah,
slowed it down. So are they doing the same thing this year? But or is it that they really are is in a bit of a constitutional crisis,
yeah,
with the fact that so many of the working royals are out of
uh,
commission? They're out of
yeah,
commission, so
and
they
now
might
you've got
actually
Edward.
need. Yeah, but did he get bitten by one of the two? I'm sorry.
Yeah, he got bitten by that turtle that he was trying to make friends with.
I'm
Yeah, and
so sorry.
it's quite interesting that, you know, he's now out of commission after doing quite a relatively short tour, to be honest. And you know, him also being very elderly, I don't think that they would be able to push him you know, going on several tours, and you know, him and a Ford Fiesta, it's not like they're the most glamorous couple to be sending all over the world, and people are going to be paying attention to that. So even if he was in commission, the attention from the press and the public wouldn't be there anyway. So they now are in a bit of a pickle, because really the attention is on Harry and Meghan, who are not working royals. They just carry on with their own lives. But the absolute audacity for them to continue to suggest that it should be Harry to come back by him, you know, himself, to help this institution. And now you've got the likes of Liz Jones, hell must be freezing over, saying, Charles, we need you to be okay so that we're okay. We're not ready for William. So they're very quietly, they're saying something.
Listen to me, William. It's a good thing that the monarchy is ceremonial by choice, because William will be a complete dictator, and they know that.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
know he is very Trumpish in his behavior, and he is not fit for purpose. They know
they know.
that. They know
Yeah,
it, and his temper is is horrible, and they can't hide the way he treats his wife. They can't, like, the two of them can't even. Well, she just try. Kate
yeah,
tries, but William, he isn't even
he doesn't.
pretending anymore. And
Yes,
in many ways, William is more volatile than Harry, because they cannot control him. They can't keep him in line. So he's unpredictable. He's a loose cannon. At least with Harry, he would do the right thing and he would take sound
yeah,
advice. But William is arrogant. He's pampered. He thinks he's smarter than everybody else, but
yeah,
obviously isn't. And he's going to be terrible. He is going to be terrible. This is why you have all of them talking about that Harry might we need to strip their titles so Harry wouldn't be regent, because they know that William would be a problem. They know that he would
mm,
be a problem. So
yeah.
I don't
Uh,
really know.
Yeah, yeah. Like, where do you even go from there? Because it just seems like things are going to continue to unravel. Petal, did you want to add anything to what Rahini said? Thank you so much, Rahini. And Rahini, I will be getting in touch. I'm so sorry, guys. Rahini knitted me a bikini, and
Wow,
I
hey
still
Rahidi.
I
I
need
don't know where to
to.
mail it to. Because
Yeah,
I
I'm
sent
gonna.
Lawrence and I sent Karen's own,
Yeah,
and I have to get Petal size. So I could do the sexy dress, because she says she
Oh,
don't wear sexy bikinis anymore.
yeah,
So she,
the
yeah,
dress I'd love.
she'll get a
Rahini's
halter
been
dress
doing crochet.
for
Oh
Hot
my
Girl
Rahini's been doing
Summer.
crochet for
god.
everyone.
I
Thank you,
wanted I
Rahidi.
wanted to do something for Harry's 40th birthday. This year he's 40 and fabulous. To do a
Mm,
fundraiser on his birthday, but I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to figure that out. Because I
mm.
mean, do some orange beanies. I wonder.
Yes.
I'm not sure
Yeah,
how
I
to
will
figure
get
it
in
out.
touch with you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Rahini.
It's so funny going back to what you guys were just talking about, just with the Daily Mail article about, oh, Charles, you got to stay with us. We're not ready for William. Because wasn't it like months ago that the articles were exactly the reverse, talking about that Charles his reign is going to be very short, that, it's all about William and all of that stuff. And now all of a sudden, I think, seeing maybe the reality of, and you just brought up as well, why are they all in black? It just was
Yeah,
really weird.
It
And
is.
so, yeah, the reality of it is that realizing that we have been propping up this guy that they all know is not ready. And that's, I think, the reason why it's always, oh, Harry needs to come back. Harry needs to come back and do this. Harry needs to come back. Because they all know that William is not ready for this. If he's
yeah,
ever going to be ready, William is
Mm.
just not the kind of person that you would want to be leading anything. He just does not have the ability to do this.
He
And
Yeah.
doesn't.
so, yeah, there's nothing that William has done so far that would have anybody confident. And the thing about it too is like I think the UK need to just grow up. There is an it's just it's so infantilized that it's like you as a country you just need to grow up. It's time to get rid of this monarchy and focus on being a republic. This whole
Yeah.
monarchy thing is a, you're holding on to a sinking ship. And if you
Yeah.
haven't didn't realize it was sinking before, surely now you could see it. So I think as a whole, it needs to grow up and just let go of this stuff. And it you in a way you kind of feel bad for Charles because it's like people were like, oh my gosh, he's waited all these years, how many 50 something years or 70 something years, whatever it was, to be king, and now it's only a year and a half, whatever it to be. And it's just like, you know what, maybe it's the best thing for him. Maybe getting rid of the monarchy, maybe he can just have a life and some freedom for a change and get rid of this whole mess,
Yeah.
because
Because
this is
what
not
does I
helping
mean?
anyone.
Yeah, it's not helping anything. It's not helping anyone.
No.
The problem is that you have a bunch of so you have this institution that in theory is meant to uphold British sovereignty, order, law and order. But the individuals at the center of this institution are dysfunctional, emotionally stunted, and power
Yeah.
hungry. And so the humans at the center of the institution that is meant to do ABC cannot live up to the roles that the constitution is meant to do for the country. So
Right.
why so the question that then becomes, well, why even bother? What is this institution even upholding now other than a fairy tale and an idea? Because if you got rid of the individual members of the royal family, you sorry, not got rid of them, got rid of any powers that they have,
Mm,
um take them off of the taxpayer purse string. I think that's one of the things that needs to happen. You could still have a monarchy, um, in a kind of a costume-esque kind of way.
mm,
They're just they're like they're bauble, they're like decorations and baubles for the country. But
right.
other than that, they serve no other purpose. They should not be given certain protections just because they're royal. They shouldn't be able to get away with certain crimes just because they're royal. We should be
Mm-hmm.
able to have more access and understand about their finances, about who they're dealing with. They shouldn't be allowed
Mm-hmm.
to run around getting cash money bags from nefarious figures. So
Right.
it's more the individuals at the center of this institution, who they are as people, and a lot of them are just absolutely nasty. And why should the British taxpayer be the ones to uphold them, especially when they have their own private wealth? So it's
And
all
I
those questions.
and I think
I told oh,
that's sorry. I
no, go ahead.
sorry, but I think and that is the heart of the argument that several countries within the Commonwealth that still have the
Yeah.
monarchy as their head of state is bringing up. What does this institution do for us?
Yes.
Because I've said that the monarchy is not ceremonial because the monarchy is a branch of government. The
Yeah.
British government wields an enormous amount of power on behalf of the monarchy. The whole essence for the Commonwealth is monarchy. That is what holds it together. So what is that benefiting me? What is my beneficial? I have a king who lives in a far off land and I can't even freely go to that land. I
Mm-hmm.
don't
Yeah,
even have
exactly.
free
I need a
passage,
visa.
right? And but their citizens could come and own land and increase my cost of living, and I have no say in any of this. There is no mutually beneficial economic or social benefit. There's nothing. So why am I doing that? Right. And then if you just look at the monarchy for all of the arguments that they get, that the monarch is supposed to be non-partisan and supposed to be that voice of the people outside of politics. Are they? Right? Are they
Yeah,
saying
exactly.
that? They allowed Brexit to happen. And there was
Mm.
no way that you, being at every single economist on the planet, told you all this was dumb. Every single one. And you still did it. You still allowed the tabloids to lie. You still allowed, that level of inaccurate propaganda to go out there and destroy your economy, drive up the cost of living, where you have people that are deciding whether or not they could eat or whether or not they're going to freeze to that. So this and the monarchy did nothing in it, and even to the basics of what they think the monarchy does. When you consider the members that are actually attempting to live up to that, there is only two. Do you understand?
Yes.
Well, there was one who who died, who you chased out. You allowed her to be mistreated, and then you did nothing when she died. You even sought to add salt into the wound by inviting the people who caused her death to the funeral, right? Because you remember Charles invited the all the heads of the tabloids to the funeral,
Tabloid.
Mhm.
and I think it was
Yeah.
her brother that had to put his foot down, right? So you did that,
Yeah.
right? And then you had two more that was willing to do the work, especially in an area you had a perfect opportunity to bring the idea of monarchy into a modern age with Megan, because the vast majority of your subjects look like her, and for decades, you have sold us this idea. I grew up with a picture of the Queen on the saver in the Caribbean. You told us
Mm.
that, right? And for the first time, we were allowed to, or we dared to share in that fantasy. You
Mm.
trampled it on the ground. And I remember the day when, I believe it was Lady Senna Shaw, when she said, I don't know, one of the royal rodents said, I don't know why black people are happy, because he's just despair. And I'm like, so you mean to say we can't even get despair? We can't even
Mm.
get despair? That doesn't make any sense. So this is what the institution is, and they have, because of their actions, not us, not Harry and Meghan, but their actions, exposed themselves, and we are now seeing them for who they are. And unfortunately, the emperor has no clothes. The emperor has no
Indeed.
clothes. And what happens? What is the next step? They honestly, to me, they are going to be begging Meghan and Harry and trying to bamboozle Harry. And you would think that they realize that their con job isn't going to work anymore, because he has healed and he's a lot smarter than them, and he have somebody who actually love him. So he's not gonna
Mm.
fall for it. So you'd have to come really good. But I think that's what all of this is about. To get him to come back, because he's the only one that can save them. I'm sorry. He's the only one.
Yeah.
I do have a
Indeed.
question though. I do have a question. Because one of the things that Harry actually said is if they needed help, or if he doesn't mind, for example, with the Commonwealth, what would you think if if they were to say ask Harry for help, because he did offer to help if they needed help, especially with the Commonwealth, which
Mhm.
honestly, my thing with the Commonwealth and the royal family is that no member of the royal family should be head of the Commonwealth, period. I don't care. I love Harry to death, but that's a no for me. Because again, from as I look at it, and I would always remember this lady on Twitter saying, having the royal family, descendants of colonizers, as head of the Commonwealth, it's like you wouldn't expect the Jewish people to have a descendant of Hitler be over them. And this is what it's like. And the Commonwealth, the head of the Commonwealth is not hereditary, but somehow it's went from the Queen's dad to the Queen to Charles, and now they're talking about William. And so, for me personally, I don't think that should ever, have a member of the royal family of the be head of the Commonwealth. What would you guys think if they were to ask Harry for help with the Commonwealth, and Harry was like, okay, I will help? Like, what would you guys think?
I think
The do you want to answer that first? I think the only state in which I would agree with the Commonwealth is if the Commonwealth was purely like some kind of economic or trade organization where there was you know where everybody had equal footing and the
Mm-hmm.
Commonwealth countries could benefit. That is the only type of uh, there's the only way I would approve of anything like the Commonwealth.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I do not see the point of of having a British monarch as the head of any other country for what in this day and age. Nobody else does this, or well, I mean, you've got a couple of other countries in Europe, but I would say the exact same for their monarchies as well. What is the point of this? All you want is the feeling of power over these other countries. And for what? So you can have your pomp and pageantry and feel important. You're not important. We are all the same under the eyes of God.
Right.
Rahini.
Well, the funny thing, Anne, is that that is literally the purpose of the Commonwealth. It was supposed to be um, Britain's, in a way, a kind of an economic bloc like the European Union. It's kind of supposed to function like that. That is the point. And but
But in a way
it
that
doesn't.
benefits them.
Right. It benefits them. It doesn't benefit the rest of us. So I think Prince Harry and Meghan, if they would probably see the truth, and the question is, well, to me, there's no question that they would try to change things, and they would try to make sure that there is that mutually beneficial connection between the Commonwealth and the and Great Britain. But will he be allowed? That's the question. He could want to do it, but it doesn't mean they're going to let him. It
Right.
doesn't mean they're going to be open and amenable to changes. Because we could go back to what happened in Jamaica when they were there, right? And
Mm-hmm.
when they talked about reparations, what really upset me is that not one British media outlet had a member of one of the repertory organizations to explain to them what reparations mean. And they would be very surprised what they hear. It's not just we saying white people owe us money. It's simply saying that there are certain debts that we are owed, that we pay, that has no, why are we paying it? Right? There's a certain amount of money that is sent from every single Commonwealth nation that is so large that it's not registered in their budget. They don't talk about it. It's like a line. You have to know how to look for it.
Yeah,
Right?
Mm-hmm.
and
We're talking about things like immigration and free passage. We're talking about, investment. They tout this 300 million pound um investment from England that has never materialized. And that was all the way back in 1997 when that 300 billion pound investment idea was finalized, and it has never materialized, right? So it doesn't make any sense. And then you had Kate coming there and having to shake the hands of children whose parents probably lost jobs because of the pandemic.
mm,
Do you understand? So there's, and she didn't even bring a pencil. She didn't bring a copybook. Nothing. You brought nothing. And this is what will have to change. And we know that Harry and Meghan, they would have listened. They would listen. They would understand and they would try. But will they be allowed? That is the question. Will they be
yeah,
allowed?
that is a very good question because Harry has a. I mean, he's never said the R word, and I don't know if I would ever expect him to say the R word reparations, but he has alluded to it. He alluded to it
Mm-hmm.
during the lockdown when they had that Zoom call with the Commonwealth youth
Yep.
leaders, and he said, and I quote, "Difficult conversations about the past need to be had." He alluded to it when he praised the Dutch royal family for the money that they are supposedly giving as well. And I think the royal institution as it is now they don't want to do that. They don't want to have the difficult conversations. They don't want to open up the checkbooks. What they want to do is they want to do very curtain dressing kind of things where we show up and give a smile and wave here and there, and everybody's smiling. We take some nice pictures for PR, but any actual, hard changes that require difficult conversations, they clearly don't want to do that.
Right.
No, they don't. They don't want to do that because I was looking at Brexit. You have left the European Union. Then this was an opportunity to strengthen your ties, your economic ties with the rest of the Commonwealth. They haven't done that. You should be buying less oil from Russia and more from us. That's basic. But you're
Do you
still doing that.
I have another question even about that. Do you, I mean, from since Charles became king, he, I mean, or maybe it's just the way I see it. Does it seem to you that he is really not all that interested in the Commonwealth nations? Because other than going to Kenya, he hasn't really, because everyone always says about the Commonwealth is so important to the Queen. It was her big thing. But Charles has not made the Commonwealth nations that important to him. I mean, he's gone to, European countries and all of that stuff, but he hasn't really been focused other than, when the Queen passed, there were five different leaders that came to, at least from the Caribbean, that came to, Buckingham Palace and met with him. But other than that, it doesn't seem the overtures to Commonwealth country has been there. Do you get the sense that he really wants, to be the head of the Commonwealth? I mean, I don't know, maybe
Well,
it's just me.
well, what would that actually look like? Because number one, given his age and Camilla's age, how many tours can they go on? The United Kingdom, has so many of its own issues. So would you, if you're say gonna invite world leaders to come and have conversations, well, yeah, you can do that. But then the citizens of the United Kingdom are going to say, excuse me, the focus should be here. And I would say those roles perhaps are more again for government ministers to do. If you want to talk about trade or anything like that, that's really like their job. So I guess the question I would respond with another question to you and say, well, what would that actually look like? What would Charles giving attention to the Commonwealth, what would that look like?
Well, no, it was just it just sort of raised my eyebrow to see like the first country he went off to was Germany, and then Paris, and
Or it was meant to be France, yeah.
right. And so I mean he did that later. But
Yeah.
it was just, yeah, it was just very, I mean, he did go to Kenya recently, and that was that was interesting, and all the stuff that happened there. But it was just, it was just like, oh, okay. But I mean, I guess you could say, well, Anne and Sophie have gone to others, so, but it just it kind of just
Yeah.
something
No,
that made me
I
go,
totally get your point. Yeah, I
yeah.
get your point. Like why, yeah, why, I mean, they were initially meant to go to France, and then there was protests in France, so they had to be delayed, and they went later.
Right.
And then when they did go, there was the big ass parade in France who, chopped off the heads of their last royals. So why did we have all of that hoo-ha? Yeah, no, it's a good question. It's a good question. Why isn't there more focus? But again, what does that focus look like? For the most part, it
Right.
just looks like we go to these countries, we show up, we take some nice pictures, we dress in colonizer cosplay, and ride around in jeeps and go scuba diving. Yeah.
Right. Well, and that's one of the things too, why I don't, why I always question the purpose of the whole Commonwealth of Nations thing, because it, again, as you said, a lot of it, even when you think of the tours and all of that stuff, like I don't see what benefit that it has for the countries that they go to. I've never seen that, even, you think in terms of, one, I think it was David Cameron. It was one of the starkest tours that you're like, oh my goodness. He went to Jamaica, and they were talking, and they wanted to have discussions about reparations and all of that stuff. And he basically told them to move on. But he did promise that he was,
Yeah.
money to build a prison. You know what I mean? And you hear stuff like that. And he literally,
Uh,
and so That's why by the time Harry came
Oh
around and he
God.
did his, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, Harry!" They were praising Harry. So even the Daily Mail at the time were praising Harry about going there, and they, was hanging out with Usain Bolt and all of that stuff. But it's like I don't see the benefit to the countries other than you see what the royals get, you see what the UK get out of it, other than
Yeah.
but you don't see what the countries that they're going to, other than they just leave them with their big bill and then bail on them. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I want to say thank you so much to you, Petal and Rahina. You have added so much to today's conversation. I really do appreciate it. Thank you everyone for your comments and also for your continued donations. We should definitely do this again, Petal, and I'll come on yours. I think given our little conversation in the Twitter DMs, I think this is like a nice way of going about it. If you're free, feel free to jump
Yeah.
on, and I'll jump on yours. I think it's nice to go back and forth every now and again. But thank you to you and thank you to Rahini. If you had any last words, I'll let you go before I wrap up.
No, I just want to say thank you so much. Yeah, it was really awesome talking to you and catching up and, just being a part of I learned so much. Thank you so much, Rohini. I just, learned so much listening to you guys. So thank you for having me on. Thank you, squaddies. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you,
And
Petal. All right, folks. That is all from me. Thank you as always for joining. Appreciate you so much. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. There's on the one hand, you have personal family matters and personal feelings, between Harry and his family, but this is also an institution that sits at the center of power, not just in the United Kingdom but across the world. And so, while we try to be, as I've always tried to be, sensitive and sensible on this channel because of the institution that the royal family is, I do believe that it does warrant criticism and some serious conversation. And I appreciate you trusting me to have that conversation and to come to my space. And with that, oh, okay, Raina, you jumped in. Is that because you wanted to? You jumped back in? Did you want to say something before we go?
I'm working tonight, so I just got an emergency call. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So good night, squaddies, and please ease up on the voodoo dolls. Okay. No voodoo dolls tonight, guys. We want some
Okay.
quiet, right?
Yeah, we
But
want some. We need some peace and
do we
quiet.
think Harry is still here? I think he's still in England. I think he's still
I think
here.
he is. I think he is.
Yeah.
I think if he had left, we would have gotten somebody would have briefed. Oh, he's going to the airport, and we would have seen pictures of him at the airport.
Yeah.
So
But
I
when
think
but
he's still there.
when but when is he supposed to be in Canada? And we'd have the 1 year to go.
So I believe, wasn't it that they were going to go to Canada within like a month or so? And then to start the countdown. So that was coming.
Yeah, there's a 1 year to
Um,
go. And then this year is the 10th anniversary
yeah,
of Invictus. So there's a lot planned. And then we know
going
they
on.
have the movies.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Netflix talked about that. Yeah,
So there's they have a lot going on this
going
year,
on.
and I'm just
Yeah,
frustrated that this is what we have
yes,
to deal with, and we're supposed to just be enjoying ourselves, basking in our squatty glow. You
yeah,
understand? So guys, put away the voodoo dolls. It's a distraction. No more voodoo dolls.
yeah.
Okay.
We can put away the voodoo dolls until 2025 when Harry takes the British press to the courts and rinses all of them for every penny that they have.
Oh, and you
Deal?
also you saw they dragged out what's his face? Um, her brother. You talk about that?
Oh, Uncle Gary. Did they pull out Uncle Gary?
No, Thomas Jr.
Oh, Thomas Jr. They dragged out Thomas Jr. Oh gosh.
Because they were talking about, he could have brought Lily and Archie, and yes, every grandparent is it like, oh, shut up, Thomas, just shut up. Oh, this need to go away. This needs to go away.
They look. Karma knows everybody's address, and Karma will make them go away when the time is right. But thank you so much, Rahini.
Bye, squaddies.
Bye. All right, folks, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow. I'm not going to play the outro music because we've gone like over an hour now. But thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Ciao.